Hey there. Welcome to the pod. Today we're going to continue our series breaking down potential MVP candidates. This week we're going to talk about last year's MVP candidate or winner. With a little bit of controversy, maybe I think a lot of people wanted the Joker, but it was in fact Philadelphia's Joel Embiid this year averaging 36 points per game, 11 and a half rebounds on 54% shooting, with 12 free throw attempts per game. The man knows how to put the ball in the hoop, whether that be from the free throw line or elsewhere. Putting up some record numbers, just dropped 70. But the big news on him lately has been his little rivalry with the Joker and the fact that he refuses to play the Joker in his home city, or I guess where his team's home city of Denver. He's sat out the last 4 games in Denver, and Michael Malone was a little bit upset about it. He said the NBA should look into it, which I thought was maybe apropos. What do you guys think about Embiid for MVP this year? I guess he can only miss like another 5 or 6 games before he's disqualified, though. And he is sitting out against the Blazers tonight, which is Monday the 29th.
Ducking, dominating. I can understand why.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that you can really be the MVP when you refuse to play against the other MVP candidates. That's not a good look exactly.
It's
And
weird.
it's very weird. And I agree with Michael Malone. It's not what the league should want. It's not what any of us should want. And I very much applaud what the league has done as far as setting requirements for games played to be considered for awards. I think that's a great idea because if he misses another 6 games, he shouldn't be in consideration for the MVP. It should just be off the table so that the voters don't have to make that decision about whether you judge it on this small body of work or whether, longevity plays a part of it. Because of course, being there to play the game should play a part of it. And I really do think that there's at least a piece of this that's him being a little bit afraid of how he would look against Jokic in Denver. And I don't know what exactly it is. I suspect that part of it is that he doesn't think he's going to be able to play his free throw game there because Jokic is probably going to be guarding him most of the time, and Jokic, he gets some of the superstar treatment himself. Embiid loves to play against the bottom feeder centers of the league where he can just go tumbling in there with his like
Why isn't
swinging
he
his
playing
arms
tonight
around,
then?
dominating, man. Maybe he's trying to prove a point. Maybe he's trying to prove that he's too weak to even play against our guy. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, anyway, I don't think he wants to play against Joker because I don't think he's going to get 12 free throws against Joker, and it's going to make him look like he can't play with the best centers in the league.
Well, if Nikola Jokic is the Joker, Joel Embiid is the Scarecrow, and it's fear. It's all based around fear. And I'm sorry, I couldn't quite
Good one. Good
hammer it
one.
home. I had
No, I
it.
liked it. I liked
I
it.
had it, but I had it. I was like right there dropping the mic, but I
You
just kind
had
of
it, man.
stumbled a tiny bit.
Don't
Uh
question
so
yourself. You got that.
so here's the thing. I read a stat that Embiid has played like twice in Denver in his career, which could lead to something more along the lines of he probably misses more road games in general. But these are the ones you can't miss. There's a narrative on the line. The MVP award every season is all about narrative. And when you duck the narrative, because that's what he did, he ducked it, that's your chances are going to crumble down. It's the same thing with rookie of the year. Victor Wembanyama had the narrative going in. Every other candidate for rookie of the year is going to have to be perfect, and Victor's going to have to struggle to take rookie of the year away. With the MVP award, we heard it last year. The chatter was building the narrative that Embiid needs to play against Jokic in Denver, and he didn't. This year, 15 minutes before the tip off, he was healthy, and all of a sudden he's a scratch. 15 minutes. You can't even do that. That's too soon before tip to rule somebody out for the game. So it's like something came up, and it could be real issues. Embiid has had injury problems in the past, but it's not good for your narrative. It's not good for your look. And Bill Simmons basically had another mic drop. Our Portland's own Zach Collins got caught with the stray when he said, it doesn't matter if Embiid's out here dropping 70 on Zach Collins. You need to be suiting up and playing against Jokic, the actual presumed MVP. So, yeah, you don't even really need to say much else. The stats are eye popping for Embiid, and they have been. I think another narrative part that kind of hurts him, whether it's fair or not, is the playoff collapses. Whether it's can't get out of the second round. Yes, it's supposed to only talk about your impact on your team during the regular season, the current regular season, but there's just narrative hangover in people's heads when that kind of stuff happens. And the Joker has got his team over the mountaintop, so he's not going to have any narrative hanging over him except for maybe voter fatigue. So all in all, that's a game Embiid could not miss unless he was out for like a long-term stretch with his knee. And maybe if he sits out for 7 games in a row and proves that it was really a major issue rather than just sitting out against the Blazers, that the Sixers should win anyways. So that's my take on it. I think that was a game he couldn't miss, and his odds have already dropped. He's already kind of dropped below SGA from what I saw on sports betting sites, just from that one
For
instance.
MVP, SGA is above him.
Looks
Right
like it
now,
last time I
you're
checked.
speaking of narrative, NBA.com has him still as number one. And
When's the last time they updated?
also the 26th, so 3 days ago or so.
So before.
But also speaking of narrative, they said he dropped a career high 70 points against Victor Wembanyama and the Spurs when I think he played like 2 or 3 possessions against Victor. So NBA.com, at least, whoever's writing their MVP race, is doing everything they can to keep him up there. The thing that interested me the most was this knee soreness, the knee swelling thing. It's been an issue for him for a while, and he was just playing through it. And I was like, good for him. He's kind of shutting down some of the injury talk about him, some of the injury prone talk. He's playing through injury. He's playing when it's not easy. He's playing the tough games. But maybe that caught up to him, or maybe he's proven me wrong with that.
Or
I'm
maybe
gonna get
he
ducking. I do wonder if he could use this as an excuse. The elevation. They talk about how a player, if you roll an ankle or sprain a knee and then you get on the plane, it swells up. And Denver's up there, 5,200 feet or whatever. Maybe that knee just started swelling up there in the whatever their arena's name is. It's just too high up in the mountains there for Joel Embiid. I feel you, man. It's that altitude sickness is something I've never experienced despite climbing many 5,200-foot mountains. So it'll be interesting to see how the narrative, as Colton likes to say, plays out the rest of the season if he does get healthy, and what that battle will look like with I think pretty much him and Joker, unless someone really comes out. But I think it's kind of those two guys are going to be the front runners as they've been the last couple of years.
So Embiid has been, according to NBA.com, the number one most likely MVP for 8 weeks running. And as where he is right now, he's played 75% of the games that he's been eligible for this season. So if he continues that pattern of playing 75% of his games, he'd only play 60 or 61 this year, which is not enough. So you have to wonder at what point does, not only on NBA.com, but also like odds makers in Vegas, I mean, people can put a lot of money on this. At what point does the fact that he's getting close to that threshold really start to play a part in whether he's still considered the favorite to be MVP? I
it
mean,
is.
he's not on track to play enough games, really not even close. So, yeah, I mean, it's got to be Joker. It's come on. What are we talking about?
Him and Embiid and Doncic's scoring this year has been outrageous, though. Like right after Embiid drops 70, Doncic comes out and drops 73. Right now, 36 a game for Embiid and 34.5 for Doncic. That is just insane scoring. Obviously, the game has changed. The game has evolved. And those offensive guys, it really favors them.
Someone put a hand up, please.
They
I feel
can't
like,
if they do,
yeah.
2 free
I don't
throws.
know. I do think shot making has got to a point, and like skill progression and shooting,
Yeah.
it sometimes really doesn't matter. Like they always say the NBA players don't play defense. Honestly, if you watch an NBA game, you can count good contests. Just watch it and watch good contests. Guys will just rise up and hit the three now because they're practicing so much on it. And I'm not saying that's all of it. There's definitely times when there's bad defense, but and the possessions. That's the other thing. The pace of play is so much faster. There's just more possessions. It's not your triangle offense where you grind the whole thing to a halt and shoot at the 24-second shot clock buzzer every possession. So
Yeah, you
I
can
agree.
argue no defense. You can argue they're foul merchants or whatever. But I mean, just watching Embiid and Doncic play, they know how to put the ball in
Still,
the hoop. They make some
for sure.
impressive plays, make some impressive moves. So there's definitely a lot of offensive talent there. Can't really deny that, even if you can have some reservations about some of these numbers, some of these crazy historic numbers that are coming out.
Embiid
Come on,
shot
Embiid.
23 free throws. He shot 23 free throws against the Spurs. That no one wants to watch that.
Zach Collins couldn't handle him, man. Just had to whack him every time. Or excuse me, Wembanyama if we're talking NBA. But come on, Embiid. Play Jokic. We want to see that matchup.
They'll
It's
play him
good
at
for
home.
yeah, it's good for TV. Come to Denver, play him. Who do you guys think should be that MVP? Is Embiid still in the conversation? Who else do you guys want us to discuss as we continue our series? Thank you guys for watching. We will see you next time.